Congress is back in session after a prolonged two-week recess. They return as Democrats and Republicans are in a standoff over the federal budget. House Speaker McCarthy spoke earlier at the New York Stock Exchange this morning on the state of the economy, warning against excessive spending.
We are seeing in real time the effects of reckless government spending, record inflation, and the hardship that it causes, rising interest rates, supply chain shortages, instability in the banking system, and uncertainty across the board.
And Republicans have demanded spending cuts in exchange for lifting the debt ceiling, while Democrats are calling for a clean raise without conditions. ABC's Jay O'Brien joins me now for more on this. Jay, raising the debt limit is a top priority in Congress's agenda, but what is McCarthy saying about the status of those talks?
Well, it looks like these talks between House Republicans and the White House appear non-existent. In those remarks that you just played a part of, Kevin McCarthy said that he and President Biden have not negotiated on raising the debt limit since they first met 75 days ago on February 1st. Remember, Congress has got to raise the debt ceiling at some point, likely by this summer, so the date is approaching, to avoid the federal government defaulting on its debt and what experts in the White House and others have called economic catastrophe. The White House, McCarthy, Senate Republicans as well, they have all said they do not want a default. They want to raise the debt ceiling, but there is this point of contention. Republicans in the House say they do not want to raise the debt ceiling without spending concessions from the administration. The White House, as you mentioned, wants what's called a clean debt ceiling raise. Today, McCarthy said there is no hope for a clean debt ceiling raise in the House, that any raising of the debt ceiling has to be associated with spending cuts. And then he outlined the cuts that he wants to make, saying that they would refer to non-discretionary and discretionary non-defense spending and not necessarily entitlements like Social Security and Medicare. But here's the thing, Mona, the White House does not want to even engage on that point. They want to raise this debt ceiling clean. And so there is no one backing out of their corner right now as we hurtle toward this date where the House or that Congress has to raise the debt ceiling.
And staying on Capitol Hill, Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman is returning to Capitol Hill after checking himself into the hospital for depression earlier this year. And we also know that Senator Mitch McConnell is returning after recovering from his injuries from a fall. What should we watch out for?
Well, the thing to watch out for is how Senator Fetterman is greeted by his colleagues. There was obviously bipartisan support for him when he announced that he would be checking into that facility. And then for Mitch McConnell, it's how much he dives back into his work. We know that Mitch McConnell likes to dive deeply into the work of the Senate. And so the question hanging over him, in addition to the other issues facing the Senate, is does he take a larger, more expanded role into this debt ceiling negotiation? President Biden used to be in the Senate. He has a much deeper relationship with Mitch McConnell than he does Kevin McCarthy. So do they engage on this going forward is an open question. One person who's not returning is Senator Dianne Feinstein, who was hospitalized with shingles. She has been out since February. Her seat on the Judiciary Committee, because she's not there, is open. We've heard from Democrats. Some of them say they want her to resign, to put someone else in that seat for the long term, because they say that her not being on that committee is holding up the work of that committee in confirming the Biden administration's judges. That is another thing that faces Democrats in the Senate as they return today, if they're going to fill that seat temporarily and if Republicans are going to let them do that, Mona.
All right, well, I still have you, Jay. What else can we expect for Congress from their first week back?
Well, there's a lot for them to react to. They have not been back in the building since the Trump indictment. The Senate is going to get an all-Senate briefing on those classified leaks from Discord. So what comes out of that briefing is another open question. A lot for both the Congress, or both the Senate and the House, to dig into over the next few days.
Definitely, Jay O'Brien. Thank you so much for keeping us up to date.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.